Greetings, my friends and family and loved ones and great people, earthlings, all of you earthlings. I'm not an earthling. You guys are earthlings. I'm not an earthling. But anyway, greetings to you. Salutations. Listen, I'm out here in the in the park where I do my little workout, meditations, and whatever. And the thought came to me in thinking about a lot of videos and things that were sent to me today, and maybe just some conversations that I've actually had this week while talking to some people. And the thought comes up a lot about whether something is right or wrong, sin or not sin, or all of that. Is God gonna be mad at me if I this? Is this how I get right with God? And it's very interesting that we still after thousands and thousands of years live our lives and our relationships based off of this idea of right and wrong, or this knowledge, I should say more so this knowledge of good and evil, right and wrong, instead of actually understanding that the more appropriate way to possibly the more appropriate way to live our lives and our relationships is in a sense in relational wisdom. All right, so to live by wisdom versus saying living by good and evil, or even right and wrong, or whatever. And that's not to say necessarily that there's not a more sure way to do things, or a more appropriate way to do things, or anything like that. But a lot of times we get caught in it, and then we just begin to make our lists. We make these lists of what's right and what's wrong, and a lot of times some of those things are relative. To be honest with you, some of them are relative to what it is that you're really trying to accomplish. And when we look at what it is that we're really trying to accomplish, we have to go here. We have to go to our heart and see what is it that we really are trying to get in the things that we do in our lives, especially in our relationships. What are we really trying to grasp? And is that thing that we're trying to grasp something that's coming from a sense of purity, or is it something that's coming from a sense of greed, coming from a sense of just consumerism, coming from a sense of just capitalism, coming from a sense of just me getting my own way, or me making it beyond the next man, or this is that and the other? But instead, to begin to use certain things like relational wisdom. Listen, I posted just a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, and I was talking about, even in our relationships, a lot of times we seek gratification or whatever, and inherently there's nothing wrong with being gratified, but a lot of times we end up having failed relationships and missing the greatness of the gift that we've been given in a relationship, because we have allowed our seek and our pursuit of gratification to overcome the attitude of gratitude, to be grateful for the fact that we've been able to be an agent in somebody's life, to be grateful for the fact that you're able to share space with someone, to be grateful for the fact that you're allowed to engage sexually with this person, to be grateful for the fact that they allowed you to I don't know, the list could really go on and on and on and on and on in our relationships, as it concerns our relationships and even life. But when we look at these things and we look at our relationships, a lot of people are seeking more gratification than they are seeking or than they are actually expressing gratitude. All right, and then what happens is that that's not necessarily going to lead ultimately to a great path sometimes for anybody. All right, but that's just a relational wisdom. It's not something that to say, oh, it's wrong for you to just seek gratification, or it's wrong for you just to be in a space of gratification or whatever. But wisdom would say you might want to kick in some gratitude, because guess what? Anything that we have that is physical, that is on this planet, at some point all it takes is a drop of a hat before it's no longer gratifying. That beautiful person that you're sitting next to, all it takes is one accident. That person where the sex was just amazing, all it really takes is one situation. All right, and that may not be their fault. All these things take is one. And if the foundation for our lives and our relationships is based off of this, oh well, my relationship is good because it's just completely gratifying. All right, but I don't carry any type of gratitude just for even being entrusted with such such awesome gift and such awesome persons and such wonderful display of our own divineness, to be given the responsibility of providence, to be given the responsibility to care for one another in a way that's meaningful. I mean, we don't see it that way a lot of times, or we don't talk about it that way a lot of times, but folks, it's some amazing stuff. And when we lose sight of that, we lose sight of our own sense of divine relational worth. So when we're thinking about all of these things in our life, and whether this is right or wrong, whether that is this is that and the other, we got to come to the place of saying, listen, Paul in the scriptures, Paul in scriptures actually made a statement, and he said, listen, all things are lawful, they're just not expedient. So what is he saying? In essence, he says, do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do, but understand this: anything you do comes with consequences. All right, the consequences can be favorable, or the consequences can be unfavorable. All right, but he's saying whatever you choose to do, or you can do whatever you choose to do. All things may be lawful, but they might not be wise. It may not be the wise thing to do. Wise for who? Wise for just me? No, wise for you, but also wise for the whole. We have to remember, because a lot of it, we live our lives as if we're completely individual. And we're not completely individual. We are completely one. But we are not individual, right? To the degree that we are not accountable to anyone else, so that we are not to be held accountable to anyone else. That's not really the way we were designed or created. I am because we are. I am because of you. All right. And to a certain degree, we have to understand the essence of that and the depth of that. And I get it that it's hard to sometimes process it and to really flow with it and to get it going. But we have to come back to that particular understanding, especially now. We have to redeem the time. All right. We've lived our way, meaning just individual, for a long time, and but we've lost sight of something very key to the very truth of our being, the very truth and core of our essence, and that is that we are one. All right, that we are all connected in some way, and we are all affecting one another in some type of way. So when we're exploring the things of whether we should do something or not do something, or how should I approach this or how should I not approach this, we should always have in mindset not just the idea of whether it's right or wrong, whether it's a law or not a law, right? But we should have in our mind the idea of, is this wise for the continuation of my life, for the continuation of humanity, for the continuation of our relationships, for the thriving, sound health of these things? All right, so we have to ask ourselves that question from a deeper space that is beyond this concept of eating from a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. All right, but coming into a place now of eating from a relational tree, a tree that says, I live here with other people, and I want to live my life in a way that is actually contributory. I don't know if that's the word, but if it ain't, I just made it up. Just get over it, But anyway, but live my life in a way that is contributing something sound, something I hate to use the word positive a lot of times, but something sound, something positive, something that is energetically loving. All right, to that's wise, that's wisdom, that's wise, because when I respond in that way, I am pouring into life. I am giving you breath. I am continuing I say, some of you have heard me say before that love is just continuing the life-giving breath of God that has been given to us. This week I've been using the word a lot of times. It's giving me wind. It's wind beneath my wings. All right. And that's what we do when we make decisions that are inclusive, or decisions that are considered, or we do things in a way that is wise. When we, using the relationship example earlier, when we approach our relationships from a standpoint of gratitude instead of just gratification. All right. So these are just relational wisdoms that I think you can add to your daily living, to your daily life, to your spirituality. This is what makes you spiritual, not so much the ideas of if you believe in Jesus or not, and I'm not saying I believe in Jesus, but some people don't. And we get caught in this whole spin of division because people are not exactly at the same place that we are at the same time that we're there. You'll catch that later. But real spirituality is understanding how to really truly act and respond in wisdom towards one another as our authentic selves, recognizing that I am not just an individual, but that I am one, and that I am one with you, one with the Creator, one with all of the universe. All right, so I hope that you all can receive this, and I hope that it does something great for you. I am love for you, and I hope that you will always be love for me. All right, y'all. Holla at you. Peace.